Welcome to Here for the Horses. Glad you are here for the horses. You just missed a cute horse compilation video. So funny. I like to spend my time doing that when I should be being productive, but that happens. Today, I want to talk about a couple different things. When I was doing my clinic in Wenatchee, I got to look at a horse that had come to one of my previous clinics. And I'm going to show you the video of that because the owner had noticed that she was kind of like intermittent lameness, been off. She could tell there was something wrong. And they ended up finding out what it was. But I got to get some really cool video, and I think you guys would want to watch it. So I want to share that with you. We're going to go over what she was diagnosed with, and then I kind of did a deep dive on, yeah, semi deep dive on the subject, and I found a really great website that explains it really well in case anyone wants to see it. So we're going to go over that. I'm also going to show a video on the tail wiggle that Tessa submitted with her horse Fridis, which was really great because she made huge improvements. So if you guys saw the first video that I had sent out, that I had done the voiceover on, I asked her to do it again and she did it again, and it's really cool. So that'll be for the tail wiggle. And then I want to talk a little bit about cutaneous omobrachialis. And a lot of you already know what that is. You just probably didn't know what it was called. So we'll talk about that. And I have some cool photos of that and a nice definition, which is by one of my favorite smart people. Okay, so we'll talk about that also. So first, let me show you the video that I took of this particular horse. She spends time, so Kathy Wendlet hosts me every time I go to Appalachia, and this horse spends time at her house in the winter and then gets boarded elsewhere in the summer. Okay. So let's watch that video. I want you to check it out. I'm not going to say anything. So I want you to take a really good look at it. And then for those of you that have your muscle sheets with you or any other muscle forms that maybe I've given you or that you have on your own, I want you to pull them out and I want you to take a look at them and see if you can figure out what's going on here because it's really pretty wild. All right, here's the video. Actually, this is one of the videos. I'm not going to do it that way. I'll do it this way. I'll do it like that. Let me show you this one. I'll make it big here. Okay, so watch this horse's leg. Well, just watch everything you see. Okay, let's watch it again. Okay, so what do you guys notice about that leg? What did you see? Whoops, Wanda's here. Wanda's going to want to see it. I'll show it one more time. But think about what your answer is. What did you notice about those hind legs? Okay. Welcome, Wanda. You're going to want to watch this video, so I'm going to play it again. And then everybody else gets one more chance to watch it again. So watch this video. You're going to want to see the hind end of this horse, okay? Share. Here we go. Share. All right. Can everyone see that? Let's watch this again. Okay. Whoops, shoot. I just made it play again. So, what is everyone's eye drawn to on that particular horse? Like, where did your eye go immediately? Leanne says weird angle on the pastern to hoof, wrong angle, hoof very straight up and down. Okay, yep. So Leanne's eye went to like the pastern foot ankle, down on the pastern. Okay, yep, totally. What else did you guys notice?
Looks like he's bad in the hocks too,
Yep,
which
hawks.
would make you think that it's even further up into the top of the hip.
Was there like a tendon that was kind of like rotated too far to the left? That's what I was
Yeah,
looking at. It seems like
looks
it's
weird around the hawk. Yep, pastern. Yep, terrible angle, pasterns of feet, strange things on the side of the hawk. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, this is what we're going to talk about today. This is one of my clients' horses. She's retired now for obvious reasons. Okay, this is called DSLD. DSLD. Okay. So I found a great, and I have other photos of it, but I feel like that one was the best, to be honest with you. Maybe let me look at one more here. I'll share this one with you too. Hold on. This one you can kind of see the movement that you guys were talking about. Okay. Get your tail out of there. Okay, so like look right here, and then obviously the pastern. She takes a step here in a second. Here it is. Boop. Do you see it pop over and then slide back down? Okay, it's like in the last here. Watch. Boom. See it pops back where it belongs and then it comes back down. Okay, this big sheath tendon here. Okay. So, let's take a look at what that is and talk a little bit about it. Let me pull up the article I really liked. I looked at multiple articles on this, and I feel like that one's not it. This one's the best that I read that had the most information in it. And it's from Mad Barn, which I've never heard of, but I really enjoy this website. And then I also think it's cool that it shows that it has 10 articles of scientific reference. Okay. So, DSLD, first of all, what is it? It's a degenerative suspensory ligament desmitis. I don't know if I say that right. Okay. Desmitis is a chronic condition in horses that affects connective tissue, including the suspensory ligament and other ligaments and tendons. This painful condition commonly leads to debilitating lameness. In horses with DSLD, the suspensory ligament progressively weakens, causing hyperextension of the fetlock, hock, and stifle. So that's what we saw with the fetlock, the stifle. We didn't see the stifle, but the hock, but that fetlock dropping like that, okay? Um, It's genetic. So that's one thing they just figured out. It's genetically inherited. It started in the Peruvian Paso, but now it's in like a ton of horses. And I don't think this one said this condition's also been identified in quarter horses, warm bloods, and Arabians. This horse particularly that we're looking at right now is an Arabian. But it's in way more than those breeds. I mean, they listed off about 16 to 20 breeds, so it's in a lot of different breeds. But it affects up to 40% of horses of Pasos. So again, that goes back to being genetically inherited. So that goes back a ways in that bloodline. Okay. Unfortunately, there's no cure for DSLD. And it's the reading that I've done shows that it can either progress really fast or really slow. Okay, so that probably depends on the horse. Supportive care including corrective shoeing, a controlled exercise plan, and pain relief can help lessen the symptoms. Well-balanced diet to support connective tissue and health is recommended for all horses. And this provides vitamins and minerals that can help the connective tissue. Okay. So this predominantly affects the suspensory ligament, but upon other reading, I found that it kind of affects all connective tissue, but the suspensory ligament is where it really shows up. And I don't know if those of you that have been with me for a while, we talked about the suspensory ligament apparatus. Okay. And the suspensory ligament of that apparatus is the weak link. So again, it shows up here, the suspensory is the weak link. Okay. So if you take a look at this photo, you see the suspensory ligaments here, boop, boop, boop. But then also it looks like the superficial digital flexor tendon is what was flipping on the hawk. That's what I've narrowed it down to. That's what it looks like. The superficial digital flexor tendon. That was the one that was flipping over the hawk as she was moving. Okay. So we'll take another look at that video again. It's pretty interesting. Okay. Again, it's a degenerative disease. Talks a little bit about the different proteins in there and why that happens. It was considered an old horse disease, but now it's in a lot of horses, so it can be in really young horses also. They're thinking of changing the name because they want it to reflect the systematic nature of this condition. So they didn't originally think that it was genetic. But now that they think it is, they want to change it to this, although I find this name even harder to say. So equine systematic protoglycan accumulation. All right. Let's just hope they keep it DSLD. And oh, here's what it says. Yeah, the tissues and organs from 28 affected horses, all but 6 of them Peruvios, were examined along with tissue and organ from 8 control animals. The presence of excessive amounts of protoglycans was found in the suspensory ligaments, deep flexor tendons, superficial flexor tendons, patellar ligaments, nuchal ligaments. You guys all know that's on the top line. Okay. Cardiovascular system and tissues of the eye, of all things. So that's interesting. Okay. But research is ongoing to identify how this accumulation of proteoglycans arises in the hopes of finding a biomarker. That'd be great. Okay. Early detection could help to implement treatment protocols to slow the progression of symptoms and assist in controlled breeding practices to avoid producing offspring with this genetic disorder. Oh yeah, here's some of the other breeds, but I'm telling you, another article I read, it's in a ton. Okay. Symptoms. Initial signs of DSLD are often subtle. So what the owner of this particular horse found was intermittent lameness. Okay. And you know that can be 9 million different things. So intermittent lameness. What's interesting about this is generally it affects both legs. So it'll either be both fronts or both backs. It can affect one leg at a time, but generally it's both fronts or both backs. And with this horse that I showed you, it was both hind legs. Okay. There is no history of injury associated with this, so this is not brought on by an injury. Lameness is often accompanied by heat and swelling in the fetlocks or noticeable enlargement of the joints. Gradually, the fetlocks start dropping toward the ground. And some of you have seen that in the injuries of the, it's similar looking to the injuries of the big lick horses, Tennessee walkers. Okay. So that's a abuse. That's what happens to those fetlocks with abuse. This is not an injury related. Okay, this is a weird statement. The classic DSLD presentation often involves fetlocks that start resembling sweet potatoes. I was like, that's a weird. I mean, I talk about pork a lot, but sweet potatoes, okay. Fluid filled and enlarged, all right. Signs of DSLD may include tripping and stumbling, constant stomping not caused by flies, lying down, gait instability. That's what you saw with that particular horse. That may appear neurologic in nature. Back soreness as the horse changes stances to relieve limb pain. Oh, this one was cool. Sitting on fences, buckets, and other objects to obtain pain relief. Okay. Shifting back and forth to gain relief, and irritable and other behavioral changes. So that horse had behavioral changes. I don't know if she sat on buckets or anything, but and I think some people were wondering if it was neurologic. But lying down a lot is another common one. Also, this was interesting. If horses start digging holes in a pasture and stand with the toes pointing downward in the hole, those are the self-fixers, self-helper horses. They are trying to relieve pressure. Okay, so affected horses may also assume a dog sitting position before getting up from laying down. Okay, so those horses that sit up like that, that could be a sign. In addition to these classical symptoms indicative of pain or discomfort in the limbs, some horses show other symptoms, skin abnormalities such as loose skin and white hair spots. They have been observed. So we'll watch that video again. You could see that on the hocks of that particular horse, the video that I showed, there's a lot of marks on the hocks. So I bet those are going to turn into white hair spots eventually. So that's kind of interesting. Diagnosis. Oh, so there's a lot of misdiagnosis going on because of stuff like EPM or colic. That's understandable. In advanced cases, veterinarians can diagnose DSLD simply by observing the affected legs. Horses with DSLD have an enlargement of the suspensory ligament that can be felt by palpation. The more mild cases are harder. Flexion of the fetlocks will be one indication. Some lumpy feelings when palpating the suspensory ligament are another. Ultrasounding images of the suspensory, you'll find irregular fiber patterns, collagen fiber tearing, calcifications in the ligaments. Prognosis is it's an incurable condition. However, proper management of an affected horse may be able to live comfortably for a long time. Some horses will stabilize and remain pain-free for a considerable period, and other horses degenerate very quickly. But keep in mind, horses with DSLD may have internal damage that is not obvious externally, because remember, this doesn't just affect the suspensory, so you never really know. Preventing, you can't. I'm sure with future work they'll be able to figure out. Hopefully just don't breed a horse that has this, because it is genetic. And unfortunately, with most genetic issues, the issue doesn't show up until the horse is older and they've already been bred. So it's easy to say and not as easy to do, but once you kind of know that, you gotta, maybe if you can track down any babies or whatever, and or if it's your own program, you gotta stop. Therapeutic shoeing can help. Stem cell injections, PRP, laser therapy. Okay. Non-steroid anti-inflammatories. Long-term use of bute. You know, you can use bute, but you all know what long-term use of that does. Light. So this was interesting. Light exercise helps, but not riding. So don't ride, but light exercise is good. This one does not recommend stalling them. And then just managing pain and nutrition. That's all nutrition stuff. So yeah, that's what I found super interesting. Let's watch that video again, just so you can kind of see it. Here are my 900 videos. Hold on. Where did it go? Somewhere in here. It's got to be around here somewhere. Here it is. This one. Okay, so check it out. Now that you know, take a look.
Eyes going.
Okay, so let's just kind of look at this step by step. So this part got my eye right here, and you can watch this big piece flip onto where it's supposed to go. It's not supposed to go right here, right? So watch when she takes, and then the fetlocks here. Watch when she takes, look at that. Isn't that wild? There, so that's where it belongs. I wish I could make this really slow. Here, watch. Yeah. You can see how unstable that is, right? There. Really interesting. There, flops back off to the side. Now she's actually not in a lot of pain, which is great. But she did have intermittent lameness. That's why the owner there, look at how dropped that is. That's how the owner originally figured it out. She kept looking for answers. There, it gets real tight there. Look at this one. Boom, boom, boom. That looks like some big lick torture there. Okay, watch it flip. Boom, comes right back over. See all those marks on that hawk? Then when she puts it down, you can actually see right before she puts it down, because it's in the correct position now. Right before she puts it down, it flips over. She's still got a nice stride on her though. She's moving. There, look how tight that is. Ugh! I don't see any sweet potato, but there, did you see that? Look, look. Pretty wild. There. Okay. So if you ever, how long has the horse been like this? Well, this is, she's been looking, so let's see, I probably was out there, she was probably in my clinic about 3 years ago with the horse, and it wasn't like this. So it's been, she noticed something was off, but she was still like okay, and then she'd be weird, and then she'd be okay. So it's kind of gone downhill since then. And I think she retired her or stopped riding her about a year ago. So they kind of figured it out. And Katie Garrett, those of you guys who remember her, she does the natural hoof care. We did the hoof care seminar with her. She's the one that figured it out. So that's cool. She was the one that got the yeah, she was the one that got the people to kind of look at that. So that was awesome. Best way to help horses with massage. So that's what I was going to be getting into. Obviously, this is not going to be helped itself by massage, right? So we don't need to pretend that massage helps everything, but you are going to be able to help your horse be comfortable, and massage always helps with that. Okay. So if I was going to massage this horse specifically because of this, in order to give it comfort, I would massage glutes, start up at the glutes, hamstrings, gaskin, and then I would just do a lot of soft rubbing around the hocks, get all the tension out of that. The fetlocks, obviously, because remember, there's going to be pain there, but also remember, there's going to be pain there. Okay. So if there's heat or swelling in the suspensory ligament, you want to be careful, but blood flow in that area should help, especially if they have shoes on. Okay. And then definitely the cornet band, coronary band, fetlock, pastern. I would also go up into the back a little bit, but you should be able to take care of the back tension by hitting the glutes really good. And then I would also help the pole because they're going to hold a lot of tension in the pole from just being in pain. So kind of any form of pain, body pain, I always want to pay attention to the pole. Pole, face, ears, you know, jaw. Do they clench their jaw? Okay. Stuff like that. Now remember, this is obviously the hind legs. This can also occur in just the front legs. I think the hind legs are more common, but this can occur just in the front legs. So you're going to repeat that process. If it's the front legs, then you're going to do, you know, shoulder, wither, scapula, forelegs. That'll feel really good. Scratch the knees. You're going to rub the fetlocks and the coronary band. Okay. So that's what I would do.
So when she's traveling, is she transferring her weight to the more weight to the front end?
It didn't look like it,
Not
but
yet.
she was
Okay.
going uphill, so I can't really tell you that for sure.
And so what do that article mentioned corrective shoeing? So are they extending the toe on the shoe to take some of the brunt of that
No, they were extending the heel back.
back? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like sliders, or
Oh,
what are
okay.
those called? Yeah, out the
Yep.
back.
So they're not worried about the toe nubbing off on the front of the foot.
It didn't look like it. I can find, I don't know if it was this article or if it was a different one that actually talked about the shoeing. I'll
Oh,
find that
okay.
for you.
I
It's
just
pretty
wondered.
cool.
We've not
Yeah.
seen that here, but I can't even think of anybody that owns a Peruvian Paso here,
Yeah, this one was an Arabian.
or an Arabian. Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
have many of those either. So, okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, so there you go, DSLD, and now they're gonna change the name and I'm not gonna know what it is, so. All right. Oh, yeah. So yeah, that was Mad Barn, that article. Pretty cool article. I might look into them because of all that. That was pretty cool. Okay. All right. Let's see. I met a horse with this condition over the, no, really? Cool. I mean, unfortunate. But now that we know, right, you might actually be able to help some horses feel better if you can identify it. So that was pretty cool. Okay, next what I was gonna do is show you the video of Tessa. She sent me her redo for the tail wiggle. So let's bring that up. Here it is. I'll make it big here. Hold on. Boop. So with the first video she sent me, she was going too fast. Okay, so remember with the tail wiggle, you have to kind of figure out your horse. Do you need to do it faster or slower? Okay, and so if you do it too fast, they just go like this. It's really kind of, and then if you do it too slow, they go, and then it never gets into this motion. Okay, so let's check Tessa out here, and she really nailed it kind of in the very beginning, so watch it. Here it is. I'll get this up out of the way, hold on. Boop. And you guys have to move out of my way too. There you go. All right, here we go. This is little Freitas. So what I want you to do, this is kind of a cool angle she did it at, is watch her body. So watch her whole body and then watch her little nose at one point in time. It goes all the way out her nose. There, see it? So she's still going a little fast, but look at how nice that is. Oh, and then there was the release. Did y'all see that? Okay. So let's watch that one more time. She's going a little fast in the beginning. There. Do you see how it's snaking up the body? And then it comes right out the nose. You can see her little nose doing a circle, and there's the release. And then she needed to stabilize. So let's keep I haven't watched past this point, so let's keep watching. There we go. So one of my advice, my pieces of advice for Tessa was to hold the tail up here more. She had it like down lower, and I think her hand was underneath or something. So hold it up here like a lever on the spine, okay? And then here, she's doing this side. This was interesting. She doesn't do it as well on this side. So is it the horse or is it Tessa? I don't know, because I have a good side and a bad side also. But this side is not quite as smooth. Can you guys see that? How it's more like, and then Tessa's like, please, or Freitas. Okay, so watch this side. There, she's kind of getting it. But Tessa's form was really good here, okay? Because some suggestions I've given, make sure to straighten this arm, and then you can put your other hand on the flank or wherever's comfortable, and then use your body, okay? Use your body to kind of get that tail to go. And that'll also help you do it slower, because you're going to be really working your abs if you do it too fast like that, okay? So keep this arm nice and straight, and then just work that little booty back and forth. Let's watch here again. So see when you just use your, did you see her straighten her arm? Okay, watch that again. So see her arm's not straight here, and she's jiggling it too fast because she's just moving her arm. And then she goes, oh, I better straighten that arm, like Erin said, because she's watching, okay? And then she gets that better movement there. See the difference? Goes all the way up to the nose. All right. So that was pretty cool. That was a big improvement. All right. So I'll approve that, and then I'll let her know that's what I did. For those of you that are new, this is my private coaching page, and you are allowed on here after you have my online clinic. Oh, here's the see the difference, guys? Here's the first one. Once you have my online clinic, you get onto this private page where we talk more in depth about stuff. See the difference, you guys? Like, this isn't moving her body at all. Okay. It's not moving her body at all. It's really just wiggling her tail, which is great for loosening up the tail. I don't have problems with that. But when you're trying to wiggle the actual spine, you know, not having your hand in the wrong spot and then not having this arm locked really only wiggles this one, see it? It's only wiggling that one spot in the tail. It's not even going up to here. Okay. So there you go. All right. So for those of you that would be interested in my online clinic, I'll put that link in the notes or in the comments there if you're interested. And that way you can check it out. But once you have my online clinic, which most people on here already have it, you are on to the coaching page, which we go over a whole bunch of different stuff all the time. And you get longer videos and you get more detailed stuff that I don't share with the public just because I do have to be careful what I'm sharing because I don't want everybody out there trying stuff that they could either get hurt or do it incorrectly and get their horse hurt. All right. Okay. Any questions on the tail wiggle? That was from a couple weeks ago. I know that a couple of you have asked about the one-on-ones. Nancy, I don't even know if I sent that link to you or not. So I'll put that link also in the chat. Here you go. I'll put the whole thing. So if you're interested in a one-on-one, there's multiple different types. You can do, you can just do one, or you can do multiple sets and get a discount. And those, you do have to have internet abilities because that's going to be done over Zoom out in your barn. So if that's a problem, that's a problem. Okay. All right. The last thing I wanted to talk about, which is pretty cool, and we've talked about this before. This is called, they call it the fly twitch muscle. Okay, fly twitch muscle. And it's probably pretty prevalent in some of your horses right now. So let's talk about it. And I also found an awesome article on that. So I have a ton of videos, or I have a ton of photos of this, but let me show you this book. And I know I've showed you guys this book before. It's awesome. Okay. It's awesome. It's expensive and it takes forever to get it. So cool though. So cool. So it's dissection. So if you're queasy about dissection, you're probably not going to want this book. Okay. But it goes over, I mean, it goes over really cool stuff, pretty much the whole body. I did try to find that ligament or the ligament that was going over that hock, and I couldn't quite find it in this book just because it has a weird spot, but a lot of cool stuff. They go over teeth and everything in this book. But so she has great detail on this. So what I wanted to show you was this photo. First of all, that line right there is what we're talking about. Okay. Right there. You guys have probably seen it on your own horses. It's above the scapula. And then this is an awesome photo of it. See it? There's the outline. Okay. So that's what you're seeing under the skin. That right there. So I think that's super cool. And then I looked that up. And this is called the cutaneous omobrachialis. That's the border of it. Now the whole muscle, as you can see, is really quite big. Okay, this is a different section of it. This is a different section. But there, goes all the way on that scapula. Okay, so let's take a look at an article that I found that was really cool. Boop, boop, boo. Let's see, where is it? Here it is, by Thurza Hendricks. She puts out amazing information. I love it. Okay. Thurza Hendricks. Okay. So I love her photos too. They're awesome. This cutaneous group are the most superficial muscles in the horse's body. In most anatomy books, they're ignored, just so you know. They don't teach this in school either. At least the 3 schools I went to didn't teach it. Not much importance or explanation is given on this muscle grouping, that's true. Although mainly considered as fly deterrents, certain cutaneous muscles also assist and provide mechanical function. For example, the cutaneous coli seems to act as part of the thoracic sling upon landing. For example, during jumps or downhill work, the cutaneous coli can be recruited to draw the hind forelimb forward in case of hind limb, especially stifle weakness. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of these. This is the one that we already talked about, the trunci, and then here's the omobrachialis, okay, cutaneous fasciae, coli. Okay. This is a cool dissection. The cutaneous omobrachialis is located on the lateral surface of the horse's shoulder and forearm, is often confused as being a fascial line. That's true. I've been told it's a fascial line. I mean, it kind of is, because the fascia and where the muscle meet is what causes the line. However, dissections have taught me that in fact it really should be classified as a separate muscle. Interestingly, there is quite some variation in the exact shape or size of the muscle in individual horses. So that was cool to me. And at some point in time, she calls it their signature, which I thought was amazing. But you'll see that those shapes are different and they can appear in different places on the shoulder. So not every horse is going to have it in the same part of the shoulder. Okay. Despite being a superficial muscle, the cutaneous omobrachialis should not be visible from the outside. So why does it pop up in so many horses? Although there isn't a definite one-on-one reason explanation, the most common connections I have seen are twofold. Shoulder issues or tightness. Most of the time, the lining of the omobrachialis is combined with a dip in the front of the wither or muscle imbalances in the shoulder area, including bicep, tricep, which is elbow issues, deltoid, infraspinatus, supraspinatus, or the teres minor. I also find it quite common in horses with a recessed rib cage or sternum issues. Okay, so anything having to do with the attachment of that foreleg onto the body. When there is a primary weakness, the cutaneous omobrachialis can be recruited to assist in shoulder mechanics as a means of compensation. So this is kind of a minor, right, line. I don't know if you guys have seen really major lines. I have. Okay, so I've seen them where it's really thick right here, the actual muscle part. So now, based off what she's saying, I'm going to be real curious to start putting some horses behind these ideas and be like, well, if you see a minor line and it goes away in the winter, that's probably from flies. But if you see a really thick line, and I've had thick lines that are like half an inch, okay? So to me, based off what she's saying, that could point to either a thoracic sling issue, shoulder issue, or just kind of a weakness in holding the horse's body up. So that's going to make me kind of start looking at that a little more in depth now and start seeing if I can find some correlations between that. I thought that was interesting. Okay. Neurological sensitivity. The skin is highly innervated organ, and some horses are very sensitive to slightest sensory stimulus, thoroughbreds. In some cases, it could be a seasonal phenomenon, which would make sense, okay, because flies, in which case it would disappear upon winter sometimes. Okay, and the reason I say that is because remember, tension accumulates over time. So if that has caused tension somewhere in the body, it might not go away, even if there's no more flies. I'm just throwing that out there. If horses are good at relaxing themselves or releasing tension on their own, that could go away in the winter, but some horses hold on to tension once they get it. So without it being released manually or helping them through relaxation, they might not release that tension. That's my idea. I'm going to start paying more attention to it now. And then number 3, I kind of love this. She says it's a personal signature. Every horse is different. Hence, these lines can be like identification markers, creating their own personal signature. However, in order to come to this conclusion, it must be certain that explanations 1 and 2 can be ruled out. In my personal experience, these often still prevail. Okay. So I think that's kind of cool. I mean, that is their signature, whether it's big or not, right? Because that's how they're made. And they are all different, which I think is awesome. Okay. So now you know, and I feel like everyone should throw this word into their, at least this week, just say these words in a conversation talking to somebody at some point in time. Okay, cutaneous omobrachialis. You gotta use that in common day language at some point. Maybe when you're getting your mocha, something like that. Whatever you need to do. Okay? So there. Isn't that cool? Any questions? I mean, don't ask me. I'm just sharing this information from other people. But I thought it was pretty cool. So now if you see that on your horses, you can go out and try to loosen that up. And then start thinking to yourself, is this a shoulder issue, thoracic sling issue? Does it go away? Like check horses if you have multiple horses on your property, which horses have it, which horses don't. Okay. Yes, skin rolls do loosen it up. Thank you. Yep. Absolutely. That's the only way I actually get it to loosen up, to be honest with you. So I grab a whole bunch, I grab the crease, I grab the line. I grab that line and I just start squeezing it. Now, when I find that it's real thick, then I really focus on just that section and try to kind of roll it out a little bit and maybe do some linear, I would do linear friction on it or deep pressure. Cross fiber, probably not going to do it. Okay. Leanne says, I wonder if it has anything to do with age. I see it in Ellie and Adobe, but I don't in Mystic Knight. That's funny. I was just thinking about your herd when I said that, if you have more than one horses, because I don't see it in Mystic Knight or Buckaroo either. Yeah. I was thinking about Buckaroo. Mystic Knight would be harder to see it on her, but yeah, I don't see it on Buckaroo. And then also, you know, are they lean? Because leaner horses, you're going to see it more, probably. Yeah, age would be interesting, so I'll pay attention to that. Age, build, maybe personality, you know. Georgia gets them. Georgia has them right now. So, thought that was interesting. Okay. Anything else? All right. That's all I got for you this week. Tomorrow, I am taking all the horses to Buckley Heritage House in Buckley, which is an old folks home. And it's one of my favorite events of the year. Oh, you're welcome, Carol. And I get to bring the horses around. We have multiple horses coming tomorrow. I will show you what someone just sent me because sometimes we dress them up. And so one of my friends, Nancy, comes every year. She said, getting the horses pretty. And I said, right on. So let me show you what she did with her. So she has a Black Forest horse. And I don't know if you guys know what those are. They're wild. They're like the corgis of the horses. They're short, they're shorter, but they're huge draft horses, and they're from the Black Forest. That's why they're called Black Forest horses. She also sells Black Forest saddles, which I think is really interesting. But look what she did with her horse. Her horse's name is Bentley. Look how cute he is. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. So she getting him all gussied up. And he looks really good. I've seen him bigger than that. They are large, robust horses. And the funniest thing, look how cute he is. He's like doing the little look. There's a mini that's coming also, and the mini looks exactly like him, but comes up to like right around here. So we always line them up and make them look cute together. And then those of you who didn't see my, wait, where is it? Hold on. Here is the rodeo queen for Enumclaw Pro Rodeo. She is going to be bringing her awesome horse, who is Georgia's boyfriend. Okay. Oh yeah, here she is. So she's going to be bringing her awesome horse. His name is William. And this is Georgia's boyfriend. See, she kissed him right there. And this was at the parade that we were in. So those two are going to be together tomorrow. And then we have two minis and the Black Forest horse and Georgia. So that'll be fun, and I'll have some photos up for you guys. But super fun. If you guys are ever interested in taking your horses to old folks' home, I highly recommend it. You would be shocked at how good the horses are. So if that's what you're worried about, like don't take your crazy horse, right? But if you have like a decent, pretty well-mannered horse on the ground, they're amazing. And I'll tell you what, they know who kids are and they know who the elderly are. And I had Georgia, I'll tell you one quick story and then I'll let you guys go. I started this kind of during the tail end of COVID because our elderly really took a hit in the retirement home. And so I said, I'll just walk them around the outside of the building. They don't even have to come out. I understand. And so I'll walk them to like the windows and let them look out the window to see Georgia, and they can just, think that that's weird that they have a horse at their window. And so the retirement home was all for it. So I took her out there and I started walking her around the outside. Now I was doing this to see how she would do, right? Because I want to make sure she's safe. And she was walking around on the outside and we had a breakout. One of the residents who was in an electric wheelchair busted out, came around the corner full speed, like full throttle forward toward Georgia. No joke. And I was like, oh, this will be interesting because now I'm going to see how Georgia's going to do with an electric wheelchair. He didn't even slow down. He was coming full throttle the whole way. Came to us. If those wheels could have screeched, they would have. Stops in front of us, starts petting her. Is this your horse? What's her name? What breed is she? How old is she? Who does her feet? And I was like, this is an old cowboy right here. I'll tell you that right now. I can tell right off the bat. And I go, this is Georgia. She's a Venezuelan Criollo. And I do her feet. And I kind of went, how are her feet? And he goes, you do a pretty good job. And I was like, okay, good. Whew. Whew. A little nervous there for a second. And the cutest thing is his hands didn't work properly, right? So they were kind of like this. And he kept going like this on her mouth. And if you know Georgia at all, she was like, Mom, why is he touching me like that? He's touching me in the mouth. And I go, just deal with it, Georgia, deal with it. And so he kept doing this on her. And I was like, he's trying to see how old she is because I told her I didn't know how old she was. And I said, are you trying to see how old she is? And he's like, yeah, just let me see her teeth real quick. And so I lifted up her lips and he took a look at her teeth and I said, she's around 15, 16. This is when I did it. And he was like, yeah, that's probably about right. And so then the event coordinator come running out of that nursing home or the retirement home, old folks home. And she was, I don't remember what his name was, but she was like, you can't be out here. You can't be out here. I tell you what, I've never seen somebody ignore somebody as much as that guy ignored her because he didn't hear a word she said. And she just kept repeating, she kept repeating herself. And he was like, there's a horse in front of me. I'm not going anywhere. You can't drag me out of this wheelchair. Okay, so we were out there for probably 15 to 20 minutes. And after about 5 minutes of her telling him that he needs to go back inside, she just gave up and then started asking questions herself. So we had a great time. Georgia was wonderful. So that was a good test run. Then the next time she wanted me to bring like 10 horses, and I was like, whoa, I'm gonna bring like 4. Because I need to have a little more control over than 10 horses. So we brought 4 horses, complete hit. People were crying. They hadn't seen horses in, this is a old, farming community, ranching community. So they hadn't seen horses in 20 years. They were very excited. So super fun time. Went excellent. I've brought many, many horses on this now, and it always goes off really well. So if you're ever considering doing that, just call your local retirement homes and say, hey, I have 4 horses. I have some friends. We'd be willing to come out. I have another one set up that I'm going to be doing in White River. And it's just quite a gift to everyone involved. So there you go. That's what we're doing tomorrow. Feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in doing something like that. It's easy. And then give it a try yourself. It's fun. Okay. All right, well, you guys are set free for the week. Let me know how it goes. If you have any questions, let me know, and then we will figure out something to do. Next week, I think I'm going to be talking about the strokes and the difference in the strokes and what they do. Okay, so I might be talking about cross fiber friction, linear friction, pounding, effleurage, deep pressure. We've talked about all of them kind of randomly, but I think I might do kind of a deep dive on that, why they're different, what they help, when to use them, when not to use them. Okay, that's going to be next week, I think. All right, cool. Well, have a great week, you guys. Nice seeing you.
Thanks, Erin.
Thanks, you're welcome. Talk to you later.